Hello, good evening. Myself, C.A. Sangam Agarwal, member NIRC of ICI. I welcome you all in this another series of the Vasudev Kutumbakam, under which we have taken this initiative to discuss about the opportunities available for the Indian Chartered Accountant offshore. In this series, we have done already many webinars in which we have discussed different regulations available at different countries with respect to practicing chartered accountant, with respect to job as well. So in this series today, we have organized another session with Saudi Arabia. In that, today we have CA Naveen Goyal ji, who is the vice chairman of the chapter in Saudi Arabia. Also, CA Bhupinder Vedia sir, and my council colleague Abhinav Agarwal ji, my chairman CA Gaurav Garg ji, Ali sir we have with us. So before starting today's session, we have with us CA Navya Malhotra ji, who is the member NIRC of ICI. I request Navya ji, please say some few words about the recent activity of the NIRC. Over to Navya ji.
बहुत बहुत नमस्कार आप सबको। और मैं इस अपॉर्चुनिटी पे ये कहना चाहूँगा कि the able leadership of our chairman NIRC, Gaurav ji, has proved one thing, that boundaries are limitless for NIRC, and the whole team of NIRC was taking everything at a war footing step, like our secretary, our past secretary Sangam ji, and everyone who is taking, I think, leaving no stone unturned in making all these events successful. Now, when we have these virtual platforms, I think we can surely say one thing, that the countries where we could not even connect, we are trying to build a connection, a roadway, a map, where we can connect our members to the opportunities of the world. I appreciate all the efforts under the leadership of our chairman, and thank you Sangam ji.
Thank you so much, Navya ji. Friends, we are fortunate enough to have CA Abhinav Agarwal ji, who is the secretary and NIRC of ICI this year. So I request Abhinav ji also, please say some few words.
Thank you, Sangam ji, and good evening to all of you. I don't know what is the actual difference between the Saudi and the India timings, but here is a very good weather in the evening. So let's welcome to all the participants in this Vasudev Kutumbakam, our 7th series of this series. Last week we did the program with the Singapore chapter, Dubai chapter, and many more chapters in this series. And I just want to share only one thing, that कि जो अपॉर्चुनिटीज हम यहाँ के मेंबर्स को और जो इंटरकनेक्शन हम बिटवीन इंडिया एंड सऊदी करना चाहते हैं, तो उसके लिए एक बहुत बढ़िया प्लेटफॉर्म है। मैक्सिमम मेंबर्स हमारे इनिशिएटिव का बेनिफिट लें, और जो भी क्वेश्चंस हैं, जो भी हाउ टू ग्रो योर प्रैक्टिस इन सऊदी, और वो इन बोथ वेज इंडिया में क्या अपॉर्चुनिटीज हैं, तो हम आपस में इंटरेक्शन करें और इसका इवेंट का मैक्सिमम बेनिफिट ले सकें। थैंक यू एंड मोस्ट वेलकम नवीन जी एंड अवर गौरव गर्ग जी, चेयरमैन NIRC, एंड संगम जी। थैंक यू सर।
Thank you so much, Abhinav ji, for your word of wisdom. Friends, before going into detail of the session, I request my own chairman, CA Gaurav Garg ji, to give a formal welcome address to all the participants. Over to Gaurav ji.
Very good evening to all of you, all the participants. Very honorable Secretary of NIRC, Abhinav Agarwal ji. Coordinator for this program, C. Sangam Kumar Agarwal ji. My regional council colleague, Navya Malhotra ji. Very honorable Madhur Gupta ji, chairman of Riyadh chapter. My very old friend and a vice chair of Riyadh chapter, C. Naveen Goyal ji, and all the speakers present today. A very heartfelt thanks to all of you for joining in and sharing your experience about Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I think it was going to be a great opportunity. This is our 5th session under the Vasudev Kutumbakam. We started with Singapore chapter, then we did with the Hong Kong chapter. After Hong Kong, we did with Qatar. After Qatar, we recently did with Luxembourg. And today we are on with the 5th session under the Vasudev Kutumbakam with Riyadh chapter. Once again, very warm welcome to all of you. those who do not know about the relationship between Naveen Bhai and me, our relationship goes back when we were both were waiting to become. We cleared exam of CA final, but waiting to become a chartered accountant. This is waiting to get enrolled. So both of us met in 2004, and we did GMCS together, and the batch number of the GMCS was 52. So from 2004 to 2024. So Naveen Bhai, it's around 20 years connect with you.
Yes.
And I've seen you growing from India to international. And I think I must say congratulations to you for becoming a vice chair of Riyadh chapter and contributing to the profession. I'm seeing for last 10, 15 years, you are very active in contributing. And you accepted our request to do this program jointly after discussing with your chair, Madhur Gupta ji. Thanks to both of you and thanks to all the speakers once again. And very warm welcome to the session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gaurav ji, for your heartfelt welcome. So, before starting this session, I want to give brief profile of Naveen Goyal ji. So, friends, if I talk about Naveen ji, Naveen Goyal ji is currently vice chairman, vice deputy convener basically.
Vice chairman.
Vice chairman. Okay. I thought that there is a convener and deputy convener concept in the chapters, so might be it is different there. So this vice chairman of Riyadh chapter of ICI. He has a 20-year plus experience of the in the field of audit and advisory. Started his career and articles from. I बोल रहा हूँ मैं. Started his career with articles from Chandigarh. Based from post qualification, he joined KPMG. Worked there around 17 years. 10 years in India and 7 years in Saudi Arabia. He handled various audit, listed entity, multinational companies, family businesses, advisory and forensic assignment, equity and debt listing, including US 144A listing. Remain a member of ICI Research and Technical Committee member. Presently working with Chief Audit and Compliance Officer in Riyadh with a family group having business of 10 plus countries. His responsibility includes being an advisor to the CEO, board, audit committee, and the promoters during his stint with KPMG. He served on various firms as a Japanese Saudi coordinator, business development, KPMG relevant cluster, etc. So, friends, now I request Naveen ji to take this session forward. Over to Naveen Goyal ji.
Right. Thank you, dear Sangam. And it was my pleasure today, my honor to be with all of you. First of all, my great efforts, would like to thank the great efforts from the NIRC, especially the team NIRC, Chairman Mr. Gaurav Garg, Vice Chairman Abhinav ji, Sangam Agarwal ji, and the other team associated. And in addition, I would like to welcome and thanks my co-speakers, Bhupender ji, Manish, Ali, and the other members will join soon. It's really our pleasure to be present with you, and most thanks to all of the participants who has spared their time to join and understand this evening. So today we have speakers from all across India. We have advertised or we have circulated our invite to the chapter Dubai, the chapter Bahrain, Riyadh, Khobar, and the Jeddah offices and within the kingdom. So I'm expecting that members from all of the chapters, we have the different time zones. To some of you, good afternoon, and the good evening to all of you. And it's really pleasure. And I'm sure that it's because of the technology and the efforts of that NIRC that we all are connected together. And in the today's seminar, I would like to give you the brief overview of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I'm sure most of you would have heard about what is Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and what is the most things which is happening, how it is changing. We would like to discuss that what are the future prospects for the kingdom and what are the various opportunities for the chartered accountants fellow members in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. In addition to that, I would like to highlight and I would like to share with you that what are the total strength we have from that our institute members which are the currently representing in this, what are the various diplomatic relationships and position taken by the both countries by which the relationships are increasing. And then we will also discuss about some of the existing firms which has already stepped in and taken the decision to work in the jurisdiction of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And there are so many teams, so many firms which are working for more than 6 to 7 years within the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And today, in addition to the Big Four, so Big Four also have a big presence. So today what we are going to cover is the various opportunities for our fellow chartered accountants, job opportunities here, and we would like to help you to understand what are the VAT taxation through the CA Manish Pansalji, who is with us as a guest speaker. Ali Sanauddin, he will help us to understand Zakat, withholding tax, and the tax regulations over here. And CA Sahil will help us to understand the transfer pricing. None of this caretaker topics, I would like to say that CA Bhupendraji is going to be eye opener for me and most of you, as he's already experiencing in a field which is, I believe, is still new to all of us. He is already working his firm in Kingdom for more than 6 years in the AI tools, artificial intelligence. They are helping us the practice to establish and to go beyond the traditional audit through the AI. So he will also help us to understand their all practice, their experience with us. Without a delay from here, if all committee members are available and agree, then we can start the session and I can go for my presentation.
Naveen bhai, sorry, just I see some comments on the chat box that the speaker is not visible. Maybe you can just toggle the setting a bit to enable the speaker whomsoever is speaking.
I think it must be visible now because our team has done the speaker's
Sangam,
screen will come from basically.
Sangam, I think we can see you as a speaker.
No, Naveenji, actually what
Screen.
happened, whenever the person will speak, his screen will come. So Manishji, can you confirm when Naveenji was speaking, are you able to see me only or see Naveenji?
No. Yeah, we were just able to see you only, Sangamji.
Earlier also when Naveenji was speaking.
Yeah.
Okay. So Sanjeev, kindly check the setting. Sanjeev.
Yes, sir. The speaker view appear, sir.
Okay. So Naveenji, please continue.
I think Sangam, still we can see you only.
Yeah.
We can't see the screen, Naveen. Can you just unshare and share your screen?
Yes.
I think now fine.
Is it okay, Manishji?
Yes.
Yeah, I can see the screen. Yeah, I think
yes, yeah, it is
fine
working
now.
now. Right.
Okay. Please continue.
Right. Again, a warm welcome to all participants. So today, as we just discussed, that we are going to cover what are the opportunities for our Indian chartered accountants, our colleagues at the fraternity in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. More specifically, we will talk about how the practice is already being taken care here in the kingdom by multiple firm of chartered accountants, in addition to the big 10 firms we have. And moreover, we will be also enlightening you to understand what are the regulatory and the tax framework over here. Although the tax framework in respect of VAT transfer pricing, it almost nearly similar to India. Some of them are aligned, some of the key differences are there, where our guest speakers will able to help you to understand. And we will be more than happy to take your questions throughout the session, in between the session, or towards the later part of the session. As you guys deem fit, keep posting your questions on the chat box or on the question in the session. So with this, I'll just going to start my session. So first thing, I'm sure every one of you would have heard about a Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I'm not sure how many of you would have an opportunity to visit here in the kingdom. So we will talk about first that why Saudi Arabia. So if we see that in the whole world of the Saudi Arabia, what we are thinking about Saudi Arabia, right? Is it a notion which is going to move? What the Saudi Arabia has been recognized is for right? Saudi Arabia, from a geopolitical point of view, it is considered as powerhouse of the Middle East, and now it is trying to become a top 10 most competitive nations. Within that, one of the most lucrative market for the strategic investments. So let's understand how and what are the unique geographic features which offers or which makes Saudi Arabia to do so. Saudi Arabia, the businessman advantage. So any businesses, they can come and start their business in the Saudi Arabia. They can enjoy the unmatchable oil and gas supplies, means of energy with a very low cost and the constant. Again, from a geographical point of view, having border with the three countries, three continents, I would say, ensure it can provide highly efficient transport links. Because if you see that in one side, the Arabian Sea connects to the Indian Peninsula, and the other side, it is connecting to the Europe through Israel. So it in a way, it gives us an alternate route, which we call us as that India Middle East corridor as well. So we will try to understand that route in the more detail in the future slide as well. It enables the people.
नवीन जी नवीन जी एक्चुअली आपके स्लाइड के ऊपर ना ऑन योर स्लाइड वी आर एबल टू सी सम ब्लैक बॉक्स आई डोंट नो व्हाई दिस ब्लैक बॉक्स इज कमिंग कैन यू चेक इट सर
Let me check. Let me share and unshare again.
हाँ प्लीज प्लीज
Just let me just share it once again. Uh, is it better now?
नवीन जी इज
Yes.
बेटर ये बेटर थैंक
Yeah,
यू
right, right. So we were just discussing that what are the Saudi unique geographical features. So to capitalize these benefits, what has been done by the Saudi? The ministries, the government, everybody is looking for, and they have set some strategic targets to increase the global capital of energy upstream and downstream. So when we say both, as a kingdom also we need, and the other countries also need the petrochemicals, minerals, power, water. These are the key resources which is being needed in the global economy. To act as a transport and logistic hub between east and west roads, railways and air link connectivity is been considered as a major significant improvement step from the ministries. So over there, they are expecting the 250 million miles can be connected within the 3 hours of the reach. To transport the knowledge base, the Saudi government has put a simple focus, a significant focus on the healthcare, life science, education, and IT sectors, where we can enjoy the benefit and it can help the global countries, the world to take a benefit of this strategic location. So now let's do a perception and reality check. So I just try to keep minimum animation because of the connectivity as we are connected through the distinct part of the world. So what we Saudi is known for, everybody is aware that Saudi is a source of oil and oil-based economy. Everybody has a question mark. Does Saudi has tourism or entertainment? Does Saudi has a local population which is contributing to the economic activities, or they are just getting the work done from the expat population? Another thing which is very important, and I'm sure that everybody would have heard, this is a very phenomena in the Middle East world, that localization, nationalization. So we will discuss in the following screens that what is the impact of the nationalization, and we will be more confident that how it is not creating any significant challenge and threat to our profession, and that opportunity is available within us. So if we see, as I just discussed in the previous slide, among others, government, the key real focus is to make their economy as a non-oil base. They don't want to get dependent on the oil-based economy. So they are maximizing their economic and social environment. They're creating too many opportunities for everybody that their non-based oil economy is increasing. So if we just do a quick evaluation of the same, in the 2023, the economy, the overall economy of the Saudi Arabia increased by 2.5%. So if we see that, what are the major contributor to this? Non-oil based economy increased by 5.4%, whereas oil-based economy has decreased by 1.8%. This is just simply because you would have already heard that there are so many oil cut, production cut which is happening. So that is helping to decrease the oil production and the oil revenue. However, the oil-based economy is increasing. So where is the delta of this 1.3%? Because if I see 5.4%, 1.8%, that's the delta which government is spending more and more to establish and make all these facilities available to the businessman. If we see further, what are the key contribution of this non-oil based economy? So we can see the sectors which have actually increased and contributed. Transport, storage, communication, tourism has increased more than 10 plus. That answers are the one of the question. Whether tourism and entertainment is a focus sector, is it available? The answer is yes. As we can see, the 10% increase in the sector. Wholesale, retail, restaurant, and hotels. This industry has grown by 8%. So how does it impact? What is the meaning of this? Tourism is coming, hotel and restaurant industry is nourishing. The employees, the population which is staying over here is gaining more and more. That's why they are able to spend. That gives a real growth when the spending power is coming. Simply, non-petroleum manufacturing facilities has shown a growth of 4%. So if we compare from a tourism sector point of view, so why the data is compared with the 2019? It's a pre-COVID period, because in the COVID period, we know there were so many restrictions and everything was there. So what we see as compared to 2019, within the 2023, there is a 58% increase in the tourism. And it is considered, it is ranked as a second globally highest tourist arrivals in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So that shows the strength, that shows that how the steps which has been taken by the government are getting effective and are being translated into the real numbers. It will not, I'll not stop only here. I would like you to share this. What is the international rankings? Where we see the Saudi Arabia is. If you see that 21 globally World Happiness Report, Saudi was the first. In the corporate governance, it has been ranked as a sixth, ninth in the digital skill and population, ninth in the MENA region from a stock market point of view. And the last you can see the 13th in the cybersecurity A1 credit rating, Moody's rating in 2020. And I'm proud to share with you today again, the IMF has announced the ratings and Saudi has been given again an A1 stable rating, which is for the current period because of the kind of the reserves they have. And again, that is very evident from there if we say that third in debt GDP among all G20 countries. So that gives us a clear picture that how the strength in the economy and what is the base of the economy. That's why where we are seeing that there are a lot of opportunities and we are trying to understand that what those opportunities are and what it means to our CA fraternity. Moving further, I would like to present a quick snapshot of a capital market, that how the market capitalization is. See, if you see in the graph, I've tried to put in the 7 quarters as a comparison, 2022 and 2023. And if we see that quarter on quarter, yes, in the beginning of 2023, there was a slowdown. That was because of the Ukraine war and the other global factors. But we see in that later from the quarter 2 to quarter 3, it shows an increase of 5.3%, and it has able to maintain the level of 12,000 mark. So which clearly shows that what is the breadth, what is the depth of the capitalization. It is 11.4 trillion Saudi Riyal. If I see that how it translates in the US dollar terms, US dollar to Saudi is pegged 3.75. So that means there is no fluctuation in the local currency. If I simply divide it by 4, I would say that it's more than 3.5 trillion capitalization in the stock market. So who is investing in the stock market? It is important to see. the foreign investors or the local or the foreign nationals. It's in participation from all three. If we see in the below graph, 85.9% is the capital contribution from the Saudi nationals. 12.5% is from the foreign. That includes our expatriate community in the kingdom, as well as the FIs, the foreign investors, and GCC investors, which is outside the kingdom, which contributes 1.5% of this. So the stock market is increasing, booming. Government has opened a lot of opportunities by opening a secondary market over here, which is called as a NOMA market. Now there are almost 200 plus companies which are already there in the secondary market. They are looking forward to come into the main market. There comes as an opportunities for chartered accountants. How? Because they need to build their policies and procedures. They need to fulfill their requirements to be a listed entity. They need the resources who has an international experience and the full grip on the IFRS. So there is a ample opportunities in the industry which comes from the policy procedures, internal audit, statutory audit, especially in terms of putting the people on a secondment basis, because that's where they need the expertise to come work and train them. Moving further from here, I would like to share this one video with you, which will help you to understand, rather than what I'm telling you, what is the vision of the Saudi and how it has been considered.
Wonder what it's like to fast forward to the future? A future where the heart of the world connects old global trade routes with new global cities, where we fuel innovation to generate tomorrow's energy, where we disrupt old sectors to grow new ones, all while unleashing the potential of untapped opportunities. Where reform is the norm, and where doing business gets easier and better by the day, even by the hour. Where the young are empowered to compete like never before. And where Saudi Arabia is open to the world and for the world. We don't just look forward to the future. We're seizing it. Invest Saudi.
So now with this, I'm sure you would have seen that what is the vision of the Saudi government? They're saying we are open to the global. We are the connectivity between the East and the West, and we are welcoming this. And they're saying we are not welcoming this, we are sieging it. They have the eagle eye on this business. So that's the real time when the whole growth is coming. And here it becomes more important to us. Today, we have a big dilemma in India. I'm not sure how much is the real and how much is from the political reason. The current government is supporting a specific agenda. So it comes as a question whether the government relationship, what is our geopolitical relationship? So let's hear from Mr. Narendra Modi himself what he talks about his relationship with Saudi Arabia.
हमारा सऊदी अरब से नाता हजारों वर्ष का रहा है। ऐसी दोस्ती रही है जैसे आप कहते हैं सदाकत को, कि एक दूसरे के वहां हमें अपनापन लगता है। हमारे ऐतिहासिक संबंधों और संपर्कों ने हमारी स्ट्रैटेजिक पार्टनरशिप को मजबूत बुनियाद भी रखी है। और आज हमने क्राउन प्रिंस के साथ बातचीत में स्ट्रैटेजिक पार्टनरशिप काउंसिल की स्थापना करके अपने संबंधों को नई ऊंचाई प्रदान की है। सऊदी अरेबिया के विजन 2030 और इकोनॉमी को डाइवर्सिफाई करने की योजनाओं में हम उनके साथ कदम से कदम मिलाकर के चलेंगे। भारत की तेज गति से बढ़ती इकोनॉमी के लिए ऊर्जा में निवेश बहुत जरूरी है और हम यहां मौजूद एनर्जी कंपनी से इन अवसरों का लाभ उठाने का अनुरोध करते हैं।
So this is, you heard that what the government vision is and what we are looking for. And I'm sure that most of us would have already heard this. This is what I just discussed, that there is a connectivity between the East and the West. So if you see that, what is the strategical importance of the Saudi as a location and what has been discussed? So now we are just talking about a Middle East Europe economic corridor, where you see that it directly connects from Saudi to the UAE and the Saudi Arabia. This whole map is of the Saudi Arabia. So here, the connectivity in this dotted line is through the sea route from the India to the Arabian, through the Arabian Sea to the Saudi and the UAE. And from the UAE, there is a rail connectivity, which will take it to the Israel, and from there directly to the Greece. The door is open to the Europe. We are not dependent upon any of the other countries. The whole route is through the sea or the land force, where the Saudi has a full control. And how this will be done? It will be through the railway line, ship rail transit, road transport route, hydrogen pipeline. This is very important, and high density optical fibers. These 2 points I would like to spend a minute over here. The hydrogen pipeline is being discussed as in connectivity between the Saudi and India under the sea. It will help to create a stable energy. Our electrical grids will be connected between the two countries. And similarly, the high density optical fiber cable will be undergone through the transit route, which is under the sea transit route, which will enable us, India, to do a better connectivity over the world and better facilities. So this is the situation and the benefit of the Saudi Arabia, the geographical and the political relationship, which opens up ample opportunities for our fellow chartered accountants. And we are experiencing, who are sitting here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the nearby region, Bahrain, Dubai, my fraternity members, they can vouch it, they follow it. And now let's move further. It was a G2020. What was the key message from G2020? That India-Saudi Arabia partnership is crucial for the stability, welfare of the region and the world. If you see what is the underlying words between this, that if these two countries remain connected, then we can connect with the Europe without having dependency on any of the country. Looking into this, it's not only stopped to the statements. India has already signed more than 50 memorandum of undertakings with the Saudi Arabia, spreading across areas of trade, energy, digitalization, healthcare, manufacturing, defense, and food security. These are the all steps which are being focused for the Saudi as a Vision 2030, and the same where it is a need of the global world and in India. So I would say the requirements are aligned, opportunities are there. It's we who need to encash and earn from these opportunities. Moving further, I just would like to draw attention on the bilateral economic cooperation between two countries. As we never understood while we are busy in our routine life, we don't get too much of time to understand what is happening between the two jurisdictions. So if we see that Saudi Arabia is fourth largest trade partner for India, and the volume of the trade is 10.72 billion US dollars, which has increased on year basis almost at a 23%. It's not only a one-way import. If you see that bilateral trade has increased by 23.41%, which has reached to 52.76 billion from 45.71 billion in the year 2022. It doesn't stop here to say what is between Saudi and India. Let's see what is between India and Saudi. India is the second largest trade partner for Saudi Arabia. Second largest trade partner, where the India imports from Saudi Arabia grew 23.47%, reaching to 40.3 billion, and the total trade between Saudi Arabia accounted 4.53% of the total India's trade. So contributing almost 5% of the total value. Now we see that how and what are the existence of Indian companies, and it will be, I'm sure that it will be surprise to most of you, the number, more than 2,700 entities has registered in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as a joint venture or 100% owned entities. And this data is of January 2022. If I look into 2023, the data is yet to released for the year 2023. It is humongous increase. And some of the major companies, the name which you would have heard, L&T, Tata, Wipro, TCS, TCIL, Shapurji, Palunji, etc. are the already company which has a big footprint in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Moving further from here, I just would like to show you that it's not only that Indian company who has invested in the Saudi. There are Saudi companies who has made the direct investment in India. And you see the value, it was up to March 2022, 3.15 billion US dollars. I'm just talking about only the direct investment. What are the major investment groups? Aramco, SABIC, Jamil, E-Holidays, and Al-Batarji Group. These are the Saudi groups who has made their direct investment in India. In addition to that, so what we're talking about 3.15 billion on the top and 4.6 billion over here in the bottom. So it totally translates to nearly 8 billion US dollar. In the India startups, such as Delivery, First Cry, Grofers, Ola, etc. It doesn't stop here only. Saudi Arabia, we have a public investment fund, which is nothing but is a sovereign fund by the government. So they announced some of the significant stakes. And I'm sure most of us know these names, but we never know that Saudi has a direct investment in this. So the first name over here is Reliance Jio Platforms. In June 2020, Saudi has bought 2.32% stake in the Jio platform with a total investment of 1.49 billion. November 2020, they've announced US 1.3 billion in this Reliance Retail Venture Limited. In food sector, you all would have heard the Dawat Food, which is the big player in the rice manufacturing and the exports. So Saudi has acquired 30% stake with the value of 17.23 millions. In 2020, India has made, Saudi has made an investment in Healthify Me with the US $75 billion. So these are the big investments which are going from here. This relationship doesn't stop over here. Just look into the energy partnership. How the Saudi is contributing to the requirement of energy within the India. India imports 39.5 million metric ton crude oil from Saudi, which considers 16.7% of the total imports. In addition, LPG, which is being used by everybody, irrespective we have a vehicle or not, a cooking gas, 7.85 metric ton, which is nothing less than 11.2% of the total petroleum product import in the 2023. This relationship doesn't stop over here. We see that the cultural relationship, the yoga, India has made it the International Day of Yoga. Yoga is being actively performed and being done in the major cities of the Saudi, where all of the population we are sitting over here are experiencing this. It's not only what we are experiencing, it is evident that one Saudi national in 2018 was awarded with a Padma Shri Award for her contribution to make the people learn the yoga in this country. Additionally, Hajj pilgrimage, which is helping the tourism sector. In 2019, when King Salman has visited the India, they have increased the Indian quota to 100,000. And because of the COVID restriction, that quota has reduced. But if we see that 2023, we are proud to see that this quota has increased back to 175,000 pilgrimages, which has already done the Hajj in the 2023. It's not only that doing an Hajj, but India government has done a step ahead by adding a Hajj mobile app, linking their Hajj group organization, e-luggage, pre-taking. So many facilities has been extended between the two countries, which has helped them to grow in the relationship further. And I would like to draw, there are so many, but I would like to draw only these two news while I just move to the next topic, which has a significant impact of all of us. India and Saudi, they are just looking for to enter into the free trade agreement for the GCC. Why Saudi is helping them? Because Saudi is a bigger player. He has a whole impact and control over the GCC countries. So Saudi is looking. What will happen if we enter into this free trade agreement? That our import exports with these countries will become ease. And what is the meaning of this Saudi local currency trade? So this meaning that Indian rupee payments and the Saudi local payments will be accepted. No need to be dependent upon the dollar. All transaction will be done in the local currency. When we will come to Saudi, a RuPay card, our UPI payments will work as it works in India. So there is no need of looking for a foreign card, a transit card. Everything will work as like we are sitting in India. In addition to that, this is one which I mentioned to you in the beginning. India and Saudi Arabia has agreed to link their power grids through undershoring, a deepening energy alliance. So this will help in the significant boost in the reliability of the power grids in both countries, which will increase our economic development overall. Moving from here, I just would like to show you what is the demographic and how the Indian community in the Saudi Arabia. So if you see, Saudi Arabia is largely divided into very smaller zones. It's not like in India, so many states. So if you see that Al Riyadh, which is a capital as well. So total population of Saudi is almost 32 million. So if you see 8.6 million is there in the Riyadh, 5.1 million in the eastern region and western region. These are the three key regions where majority of the population stays. And this is very important statistics to understand that the working force of the Saudi is 72.8% of the total population. So what does it stands for? The average median age for the Saudi is 30 years. That also answers that one of the question where we say that, oh, is the nationalization is a threat to our profession? Is the nationalization is eating up our jobs and security? If the average age of the country people is 30, they are there to learn with us. They will not grab us our professional experience, but they will come with us, they will partner with us. And that is being evident from here in this chart. If we see that, what I brought for you guys is in the major cities like Riyadh, Jeddah, and Dammam, where the population, and if you see all, this is a percentage of Saudis and non-Saudis population. So what is the population? Everywhere here, if you see, the population is more than 50%, which belongs to the expatriates. And now what these expatriate represents, the above chart will show you. The second highest expatriate is from India. First is from Bangladesh, where majority of the people are in the labor class, in the lower services, but in the professional jobs, Indians are there, followed by Pakistan and the Yemen, then Egypt. Very few representation from the Europe and the other countries, because if you see that here, the numbers in 2000s. So up till here, none of the big European country falls, where the number has already fallen down to 300,000 number of employees, a number of the residents. So that shows us that how big this is, and there is no concern of nationalization. All of the numbers which represent over here gives an evidence. Today, again, there is no threat. Tomorrow as well, there will be no threat. And this is very important to say. I will more add it with one data with all of you. What is the unemployment rate in Saudi Arabia? The unemployment rate of Saudi Arabia in overall is 5%. And how much it contributes from the Saudi population? 8% from Saudi population and nearly 1.2% from the expat population. So if I see that out of this working group, 72% of 14 million, 18 million, if I simply say that 14 million people, 13 million people are already working, then is it going to a continuous threat? The answer is no. The way the opportunities are coming, way the requirements are increasing, there will be a lot of demand. Who will fulfill? It's we as a professionals who has a responsibility, who has a capability to grab these opportunities in the upcoming world where the all multinational companies are coming. With this, I'll just move to another slide, which will give us an overview. What is the presence of Indian chartered accountants in the Saudi Arabia and the nearby region? So for this presentation, I just keep an added to Saudi Arabia, the another chapter, which is a Bahrain chapter. So Riyadh, Jeddah, Khobar, these are the three chapters within the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. In Khobar chapter, Khobar and the Dammam, this Khobar and Bahrain are the two connectivity is like we go from Delhi to Noida. So that's from Delhi to UP, right? Or we say that Bombay to Pune is still too far, right? So that's the way these two are connected. So where the people come on a daily basis up and down to do the business. So we have more than 800 members who are already registered with us within these four chapters. And that's the strength which we can see of the total community who's already working there, and how, where the representation is. This representation is among all industries. At what position we say? CFOs, finance directors, group finance controllers, various board level positions, advisors, listed entities, be it family business, be it government subsidiaries, are being taken up by that are Indian professionals. So there is nothing which has, we say that is a reduced demand. There are so many opportunities. When the senior people are there from our community, then there is a lot of opportunities to be for the freshers as well, because they'll help and support to each other. It's not only in industry. If you see that among others, big 10 firms who has a representation in the Indian Chartered Accountants here. What kind of role they are into? They are into the XCOM. They are into the audit tax advisory partner levels and various level of the field staff. So they are everywhere, we say. And now from here, this is very interesting slide, which I will take it in the next. I'll show you that how some of the independent firms has created their footprint in the Riyadh. Before I go to that slide, I just wanted to make all you guys to understand that there is one restriction here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, that audit practice license is allowed to only those people who is a SOCPA qualified. And that means a local national. Apart from the audit services, it's all other services which can be provided by that our fellow chartered accountants. And here I'll name few of the firms which are existence in Riyadh. I really apologize from the members who are there with me from the Khobar and the Jeddah and the Bahrain chapter, because I don't have a ready-made database for them, but I'm sure in the future we can share it with you. I'll share some of the firms which are here from the Riyadh, Jeddah, Khobar, sitting in the Riyadh office. So they are majorly working from the Riyadh. The first name I would like to take is the Unicus Consultancies. So UNS Consultancy, why make it, bring it as a first priority? Because if you see the ESG service offering, this is an ESG service offering which is coming as a big opportunity for us as a chartered accountants, because it requires so much of the data collation. It's not only, I would say, that preparing a report, but it's all preparation, collation, and presentation of the data, and deep analysis of the data, and issue an assurance opinion, the connectivity opinion, which is not required to be from a SOCPA registered auditor. It can be done by the other firm of the chartered accountant as well. So there are so many service offerings which are available in this. Again, over here, the accounting and the advisory services, technical accounting advisory, IPO readiness. This is again big responsibility of the area where we see that lot of opportunities are available for chartered accountants. We'll not spend much time on the slide. If you see that they're spread across in the US, India, UAE, and Saudi Arabia, and there are more than 300 professionals they have, including 40 plus directors and partners. So what is important from here to highlight, why I just pick as a landmark slide for you guys. Here we see 300 professionals, and here we see the office in India, UAE, Saudi. How their model is work. Their model is working parallelly to what the Big Four model is. They have the back office team in India, and I'm very proud to share this with you, because I've seen while working with the Big Four, and I'm sure my other colleagues from Big Four are with us as speakers. All of these Big Four firms have their significant man strength, especially in the audit sector, who's sitting in the back office India, which creates ample opportunity for Indian chartered accountants working directly for Saudi Arabia, and then it translates to an opportunity to come and become part of the Saudi Arabia. Another firm, APT Global Consultants. So they are again from an Indian chartered accountant firm based in Dubai and so many countries. They provide all the services related to that, what has been listed on the left-hand side of the screen. And I'm sure some of the name you would know. And a couple of them has already started sitting them in the Riyadh. And I think their complete incorporation are under process. MMGS Consulting Group. This group is a Bahrain-based group. They are already here in the kingdom. And they have very strategic location, Faisaliya Tower. They have the office in that prime tower in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And I'm proud to say that one of their speakers is with us, who will enlighten us in the later part on the transfer pricing activities. So this is the full journey of the firm of MJS Consulting. They are having their presence in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and they're providing all related services which is related to the tax and consulting services, management consulting services. As I said, that audit services are mostly provided through the partner services because that's not been direct services. This Ballards, it's an Indian-based firm again. I'm sure that some of you would have heard, for some of you, it's a new firm. This is a UK-based firm. They have more than 40 years experience of audit practice in the UK and the other regions. They've already opened up their office in this kingdom as an 100% subsidiary here. So again, the kind of services are listed over here and the key members are listed over here. TechRise Info Solutions. I'm sure that some of you would have heard it, some of you would not have heard it. This is again a unique example that how the CAs can do the practice. It's not only a traditional audit. So what they are providing is all SAP implementation services, consulting services, business central. So what they made is focus is business, technology, and consulting. More away from a traditional audit and tax practice. They have made their establishment and they are working very fine. And I'm proud to say that they are the business, they are the preferred partner by Ernst & Young in India for their services to be provided in Saudi Arabia. And they are doing the lot of business with them as well, apart from that other clients for them. Dawn and Dusk, this is again the entity of that Indian Chartered Accountants based in the Riyadh. They also have their sister concern in the Faisalia Tower. If we see that what they are looking into is the all services related to the pre-deal services, post-deal services, and the related solutions. And they are already working into so many projects and the global presence. And they have 50 plus projects already in the MENA region, and their team strength is 40 plus. Moving further, One Direction Global. I love this firm, not personally, but this is the one which is the future of our chartered accountants. This is what we are dreaming to. This is what everyone is talking about, AI. But the team over here, they have made their existence in 2018. They have spent that time and they have made this happen. Today, they are the preferred partner, gold partner of IBM and the Microsoft partners, Indian Chartered Accountant firm. And what they are doing, they're providing so many services. And within this, I would like to share with you the experience. I especially requested CA Bhupenderji to come with us and help all of the chartered accountants to share their journey with us. So with this, I'll stop my presentation here. And if you have any questions up till here, I'm more than happy to take that. Or we can consider the questions in the last, because over here, I would like to hand over back to that NIRC team for welcome of Bhupenderji, please.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Navinji. Hope I am audible.
Yes, we can hear you well.
Okay. So thank you so much. The very informative deliberation, Navinji. Thank you so much. Now we have another speaker, CA Bhupender Bedia sir. He is currently MD, Managing Director, and co-founder, and One Direction Global. So if I talk about Bhupender sir, just a minute, sir. If I talk about Bhupender sir, he is a chartered accountant and cost accountant by profession, presently managing director and co-founder of One Direction Global, via then KSA. He has experience of more than 20 years in the field of finance, IT, and advisory role. He has extensive knowledge in enterprise performance management, data analytics, finance, and consulting domain. He has played key role in IBM, Accenture, KPIT, Tyco, etc. in various finance and IT related fields. So I will not take much time and directly invite Bhupenderji to deliberate to take this session forward. Over to Bhupenderji.
Yeah. Thanks, Sangamji. Thanks, Naveen and Gauravji and all the NIRC members. So I will just share my screen. Just let me know. Okay, so everyone can see my screen?
Yes, it is visible. Yes.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Thanks everyone. So I think Sangamji has introduced myself. So we have a startup in Saudi Riyadh, and also our presence in Jeddah, Jordan, and Australia, and also our back office in India. So we are managing all our delivery from India. And so basically, I just want to please thank you for giving me this opportunity, and also thanks to everyone attending this conference. I just want to share some insight on the artificial intelligence, data analytics, and business analytics. I know today everyone discussing about the artificial intelligence, generative AI, and so this is the current topic everyone is discussing. So even recently, there is a Gartner survey. So it still states that most of the finance department and the operations of the company still they are doing the traditional way of analytics. So they are focusing on the Excel based reporting and the closing. So but now the scenario is changing because the huge data will be generated in all the industry. And the future is data. So we have to find the value proposition from the data, and all the companies, they are mainly focusing on data, that how we can generate the value on the data. So I just want to discuss about these technologies in this presentation, and how this technology will transform the finance and operations from the various line of businesses, and how you can get the quick insight the companies, and near real time the benefits, and they can take the quick decisions. So I just want to move to the another slide. So in the Saudi Arabia, the government, they have started the initiative, which is the Sadaya. So Saudi Authority for Data and Artificial Intelligence. So they have done a huge investment in Sadaya. So they know that the future is artificial intelligence and the data. So they want to use this technology, artificial intelligence, in all their government entities and major entities and PIF for smarter cities and controlling the all the entities. Yeah. And also they have started the new initiative, which is the National Data Management Office, that is the NDMO. So which is mainly focused on the data governance and the security part in Saudi Arabia, because the data is increasing day by day, and a lot of governance and security to be required to control and not to be misused the data. So that is why, that is the potential, and the chartered accountant play a keen role, because data is increasing, and the chartered accountant, they have a good knowledge about the business, they have a good functional knowledge where they can play a good role. So because it's not that analytics is only IT related field. So basically they need the chartered accountant and who has a good functional knowledge, and so they can understand very well all the businesses, and they can do the analytics very well. So I would like to discuss one of the use cases where we implemented this solution. So this is the Mogif National Parking Company, so which is based in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. So they are the parking space management company. So they have a on-street parking and multi-level parking, and also the air terminal parking they have. So for example, in Dubai terminal, if you go T1, T2, so they have their parking. Jordan also they have a parking. Same way on street, if you go to the Jeddah, Dammam, Khobar, Makkah, you find the parking space. And also multi-level parking in Riyadh also you can find in Nesto, Batta. So this is the big company in the GCC, and the challenges what exactly they are facing, that they are processing very enormous data. So more than 200,000 transactions on daily, it's generating from all the parking machines and the different parking places. So that is the one of the challenges they are facing. And another challenge is they managing all their financial reporting and budgeting and forecasting manually. And so they have a lot of KPIs, and they want to monitor the KPIs for taking the quick decisions and actions. So they are doing all manually through Excel files, and they can't take any real-time decisions. So that is the challenges they are facing, and they approach us, the CFO from that organization, and then we implemented the IBM analytical solutions. So IBM, they have a very powerful in analytics. So we discuss with the CFO and the other finance team what are the business challenges and how to mitigate that challenges. So by using the IBM technology. So the benefit what they are getting with this AI and the data analytics solutions, that they integrated the various data points from where the revenue are generating. So we integrated all the data points and real-time data analysis. So they can start analyzing on hourly basis. So they start the data are pulling from the near to real time from all the data points, and they started analyzing on hourly basis. So what happened that, so they can know what exactly the peak hour, what is the revenue to be generated, and non-peak hours, what exactly the revenue, and they find out the revenue leakage and the frauds, lot of things they find out. So that is the one of the benefit by the using the IBM analytics and AI solutions. And secondly, also they have done all their comprehensive integrated planning, budgeting, and the rolling forecast by using the technology. So that is the second, they got the benefited. It is all auto-generated, all their budgeting and forecasting solutions. So they have done the uniformity because they're very scattered, all the data and all the users. So they have now uniform standard reporting and data analysis. So whenever the CFO, they have a board meeting and they want some data for analyzing, so they have in hand all the data and the reports, and it is auto updated. So they can take the very quick decisions, board of directors. So that is there. They have a lot of KPIs because it is very complex organization. So they want to analyze a lot of KPIs. Say, for example, the enforcement officers who pull the vehicle. So their incentives decide on the basis of how many vehicles they enforced. So their incentives, how much utilization, and what is the peak hours. So whether they want to take the double shift or they want to take the one shift employees. So they are doing a lot of analysis, which is not possible manually. So, and they saved a lot of millions and billions of dollars by using this technology. So this solution, it's very nice because they have saved so they have saved a lot of money, and also the fraud they have detected. And so the IBM, they like the solution, and it is also published worldwide by the IBM. So this is the one of the use case which we can use. The benefit of chartered that we understand their business very well. So that because we have that knowledge about that financial KPIs, and then we can align with the technology. So now move to the another. So this is the basically the services which we are providing. So we are doing all the financial reporting and accounting services. So we are doing all automized financial consolidation by using the technology, and which is auto reconciliations, intercompany eliminations, everything. Then financial planning, budgeting, rolling forecast, and also we are managing some accounting work outsource. Data analytics with AI, that is the major our work. So we are doing the predictive analytics. A lot of company, they want to use the statistical forecasting, and they want to generate the forecast very accurately because the lot of external factors affecting the forecasting. So they want to take in care about the external factors like seasonality, and in Saudi we have a Ramadan period. So it will impact their businesses. So they want to take care about that also. So we are doing all their predictive analytics. And BI reporting with AI capability. So I know BI reporting is everywhere they are using, but now the AI capability, because so it is all auto-generated. So everything auto-generated, the dashboards, auto-generated the reports with the AI capabilities. We are doing that. Operational KPIs. So it's not only the finance where we can use these technologies. So in all the line of businesses, we can use these technologies. Say, for example, the sales. So sales, they want to see the sales performance. Say, for example, the Almarai. Almarai is the largest dairy industry in GCC. So Almarai, we have done the customer and product profitability. So the idea behind that Almarai, they have a different routes and they are supply the products, dairy products in different routes and different supermarkets and bakalas. So basically they want to know whether it is really, so a lot of cost involved in delivery that product. So they have a merchandising cost, they have a fridge cost, they have a driver cost and the van cost. So they want to allocate that cost and they want to find out whether it is really benefit to deliver that product into that supermarket or bakala. So that is the, and Almarai, they have a very huge data. So it is a very big data and they want to analyze and they want to take the decisions. So that's why the Almarai they are using for the sales S&D department, they want to use these analytics tools. So same way RMPM, raw material packaging materials, so COGS. So you can create the BOM and then BOM you can do all the raw material packaging. So Al Rabia Food Drinks, so that is also the largest food drink company in Saudi Arabia. So basically they used very well the RMPM. So because they have to purchase the bulk sugar. So they want to know how much bulk sugar is required in coming 12 months or 24 months. So by using this technology, they know very well how much sugar is required in which month and which period. And they take the bulk discounts and other benefits by using this technology. So this way RMPM, you can do the HR headcount. So headcount planning, HR analytics, because there is a lot of things like GOSI is there and insurance will be there. So a lot of things there. In Saudi, you have a permanent contractual labors like that, and you want to analyze that. So you can do the headcount HR analysis. You can do the operating expenses. So there is a variable fixed cost and variable cost, lot of drivers involved. So you can set up through the analytics that the business user, they can select the drivers and they can get all the cost will be allocated at the product level. So
Right.
that
So
way,
Bhupender ji, if I can add.
Yeah, Naveen.
So I think now this is one of the biggest opportunity where we see that you've already experienced. So that's where we just wanted to see that our fellow community fertility, where Bhupender ji's experience is more important, because if you see that similar things will happen in India soon or later, right? So we have the already experience. If you see that this one company with the used example was shared, they have the business spread across from the KSA in the Dubai, Jordan, and they are increasing. A lot of other players will come in this market, right? So the data analytics which they have provided as part of the AI, again, as mentioned in the ESG, the sustainability report, all of these AI facilities will come and will take over. And I can see that the credential is not only limited to one or two companies. It is spread across the FMCG and the beverage sector, government entities, healthcare industry, banking and the insurance industries. Yeah, to Bhupender ji, back to you. Right.
Yeah, thanks, Naveen. Yeah, so what rightly Naveen said, so it is not only any specific industry or only the finance. So you can do the analytics in anywhere, say for the HR, OPEX, CAPEX, capital expenditure. And even one of the company can manufacturing, they are manufacturing the cans for the Pepsi. So they are purchasing aluminum. They want to do the analytics for the hedging. They have a hedging settlement with the industries and the banks. They want to do that calculations, logics, setups. So the analytics, it is bread and parcel in all the areas, everywhere. So this is the future and this is the right time. Then chartered accountant has to move from the traditional finance and think about that, how we can move forward to the analytics and that side. So this is the, we are doing that operational KPI, balance scorecard, strategy management. We are doing where they have objective initiatives of any organization and they want to link with the metrics and KPIs. Sustainability, which is the new, and all the countries, they are moving to the sustainability. So we are doing the life cycle management. This is very specific, unique for the specific industries where a lot of process involvement. So we have done for the military here. SAMI is the military organization here. So we have done the sustainability, so all the process and workflow diagrams and everything. Finance consulting, sort of, we are doing the chart of accounting, designing cost allocations. We are also providing the key position resources like finance directors, program managers, and also we are providing the certified training for IBM, Microsoft, and other technologies to the various clients. So we have also the software and hardware reseller for the IBM and Microsoft softwares and products. So we have so what Naveen is saying, it's not only the FMCG beverages, you can see that. So we have doing in government entities, lot of SAMI, Rosen is the real estate. We have done that healthcare industry, Novo Nordisk. So Novo Nordisk is the Denmark-based company, healthcare. So we have done all their revenue planning, budgeting. We have calculated their sales incentives for the medical representatives. So this is the MRs we have calculated. So the banking, we have a Riyadh Bank, and the insurance, Bupa, Arabia, Salama, and transportation. Okay. So the idea behind that, it is not specific to any industry or specific to the finance. We have a good knowledge because we have a chartered accountant. We have a very good functional knowledge, and we can do a lot of things. And that knowledge is very important actually for implementing all these analytic solutions. Yeah. So I just move next slide. So this is the sum of the client, the feedback for our work. So from the different organizations, so we have got the feedback, and the good thing, they are still with us, and the good thing that if you implement any analytics solutions in any organization, it will be continuous process. It's not that you have done one work and there's no, they have a lot of support work, lot of enhancement, new development. For other sectors, they need the analytics. So once you enter, then you will get a lot of new works. So this is the key team members. So we have a Dr. Adil and myself, chartered accountant, Yogendra Jog, that is also chartered accountant. And we have some engineers who are the developers, technical side, and SMEs will be there. So this is the overall the AI, artificial intelligence, and data analytics. So this is from my side. Thanks everyone. Thanks a lot. Yeah, over to Naveen.
Yeah. So I think that's a great opportunity for all of us, as we said that. And thank you, Upendraji, for enlightening. I'm sure that you will help us, the members, wherever needed in the guidance in the sector, because you have an ample experience in the sector where most of us will go further for this.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time and really enlightening the session.
Thanks.
Over to the NIRC members. So I think that as a next topic, we have for that VAT regulations. So I seem that Sangam seems to be some technical connectivity issue. So I would like to welcome CA Manish Bansal, who has an experience of more than 15 years in the tax and consulting practice. He is a VAT specialist from his professional career. He's not only a chartered accountant. He's a chartered accountant. He's a company secretary, as well as that he has done the LLB as well. So he made himself as a fully equipped, be it in the appeals, be it in any area, that he has the full knowledge from a company's point of view as well, profession point of view, and the law point of view as well. So he has been dealing and handling the REIT, which is a very big area in the kingdom, which is related to the real estate, and there are real estate taxation along with in the VAT. He handles the lot of appeals, and more important is that how to do the business strategy and the planning from an indirect taxation point of view, more specifically. So over to you, Manish. With this, I would like to have warm welcome. And considering the time, I'm sure that Manish is very much equipped. He will take you through that what is the VAT regulations and how related these are from our Indian tax regulations, especially in the indirect tax. Over to you, Manish, please.
Thanks, Naveen bhai, for the kind interaction and so kind of you. I think you have exaggerated me too much and set up the expectations, but I hope I am able to live up to that. So let me just share my screen. Please let me know once
Yeah,
you're
we
able to
can
see
see
my
it.
screen. Yeah.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, and yeah, good afternoon to all the fraternity members from India and wherever you are in the world. So, and salam alaikum and hello to everyone. Yeah, as Naveen Bhai said, I'm Manish and been doing indirect taxes for more than 15 odd years and now based in Saudi for last 5 years or so. As Naveen Bhai was busting some myths, let me bust a real myth, which is Saudi Arabia is a no tax jurisdiction, and that is completely, as I said, it's a myth. Saudi Arabia has all the taxes apart from the personal income taxes. We have VAT, we have real estate transfer tax, we have zakat, we have corporate income tax, we have transfer pricing. So we have an entire gamut of taxes in Saudi Arabia, except personal income tax, and that's why probably most of us are here in Saudi because there are no corporate personal income tax. So I'll take you through in the next few slides a brief snapshot of what indirect taxes are in Saudi. So Saudi typically, if I talk about indirect taxes, has VAT, which is akin to GST in India. We have real estate transaction tax, which is pretty much like a stamp duty, but with its own variations and modifications. We have customs duty, again, we have it in India. And we have excise. Now, excise is not a tax on manufacture like we used to have it in India. It's an excise, it's more of a sin tax or a sugar tax that we have in India. So it's levied on some of the sugary and tobacco related products. So it's like a sin tax. So it's applicable on few of such products, but we hope to see them applicable on some luxury products as well as we go along. This is our expectation. So I'll start with VAT. I mean, again, VAT is one of the key kind of revenue generating mechanism for governments all across the world. And one of the reasons for it does not immediately hit our pocket, in the sense nothing is taken away from the income as income tax does. So it has a lot less resistance if compared to when, let's say, an income tax rate is raised. A raise in the VAT rate does not raise immediate eyebrows because it's not going straight away from our pocket. So yeah, politically it's a beneficial move, but yeah, it's regressive in nature in the sense that everyone pays the same tax. So a rich guy and a poor guy pays same 15% VAT. So in this slide, this is the small frame, it's kind of journey of VAT in the Middle East region. So Saudi and UAE were the first ones to implement VAT in 2018, January 2018. Bahrain followed the suit in 2019, followed by Oman in April 2021. Qatar and Kuwait are yet to implement VAT. Qatar, there are some talks going on, and we expect that Qatar implements the VAT soon. And Kuwait, it is still, I mean, we do not hear anything from Kuwait right now. So there is a GCC framework agreement, which have been signed by all GCC nations, all 6 GCC countries to implement VAT. But yes, I mean, there have been some delays in the implementation by each countries. So VAT, as we know, I mean, it's very, the framework of VAT is very similar to what a GST is in India. I mean, GST in India is more of a 2-tiered taxation that we have state and center. We have CGST, SGST, whereas in Saudi, it's a unified federal structure when we just have, let's say, one tax. It's morely based on the European VAT laws, whereas the Indian GST pretty much is based on a Canadian model of VAT. As we know, it's a tax applicable on supply of goods and services. It is a consumption-based tax, and at every stage, the supplier is able to, let's say, charge VAT to the customers and recover the input VAT, which the supplier has charged to that person. Again, taxable supplies, goods, services, and imports are the 3 things on which VAT is generally applicable, as it's very common. Now, in Saudi, we have a single rate structure to the extent that the rate of VAT in Saudi is 15%. It was initially, to start with, it was 5%, but during COVID-19, because the government needed revenues to kind of for its welfare activities, the rate was hiked to 15% with effect from 1st July 2020. And since then, it has been 15%. It has not gone back to 5%. Then we have zero rated, and then we have exempted. So it is a very broad-based taxation in the sense most of the products are standard rated at 15%. Very little are exempt or zero rated. Input tax deduction, again, it follows the global concept. Anything related to exempt supplies is not recoverable. Anything related to taxable supplies is recoverable, and anything which is common needs to be attributed between taxable and non-taxable, and there are formulas around that. In Saudi, we have a monthly tax period or a quarterly tax period. Where the turnover is more than SAR 40 million, it has to be monthly, whereas where the turnover is less than SAR 40 million, it can be quarterly. Returns are filed electronically, and the payment needs to be done electronically as well. Late submission of returns can subject you to late payment penalties, and the penalties are very stringent in Saudi Arabia. So the late payment penalties are 5% per month, which is 60% a year, and with no upper cap as well. So it is a very taxing regime in terms of the penal provisions, and therefore it needs to be the compliance needs to be managed very, very carefully in Saudi Arabia. One important thing is Arabic. Yes, records in Arabic. I saw one of the questions also. Arabic is very important. All the correspondence with the tax authority, which is called as ZATCA, which is Zakat and Tax and Customs Authority, happens in Arabic. So all official correspondences do happen in Arabic. So yes, Arabic is very, very necessary in Saudi Arabia. But it does not mean that we as Indian Chartered Accountants need to learn Arabic. We have Arabic speaking colleagues, we have translators. So it's not a necessary thing that you need to learn Arabic in order to work in Saudi Arabia. I think one interesting concept which we do not find in India is a concept of tax grouping, which says that entities falling within the same group can form a tax group. And what happens there is any transaction between the members of the tax group is ignored for VAT purposes. As you can see, let's say company B, C, D in this example are commonly owned by company A. Now, company B, C, D and company A can form a tax group. So they can apply to the tax authority to form a tax group. And then any transaction which happens between company A or company B or company C, etc., will be ignored for VAT purposes. So there will not be any VAT thereon, and which that leads to, let's say, less compliance, less number of returns. And then also there's a working capital benefit then in the sense that you do not need to finance your VAT upfront. These are the kind of key issues that we have seen, which have been highlighted by the tax authority during the audits that have been conducted. Again, these are pretty much usual issues. Input VAT eligibility is one that we often see in India as well. Although in India, I mean, because of Form 2A, 2B, and Article 16A or the Section 16A of the GST Act makes it all the more kind of complicated to recover the input VAT. But yes, litigations are there in the input VAT. Point of supply versus revenue recognition. So wherever there is a difference between the financial statements and the VAT of returns, ZATCA does look at it very stringently, and then you have to explain why there are differences. Reverse charge mechanism, again, like India, we have any import of services are subject to reverse charge mechanism. Zero rating, which is mostly export of service. Again, there are complicated rules around that, what qualifies as zero rating and what not. But thankfully, we do not have any rule regarding intermediary. So any services in the nature of intermediary services like we have in India would be subject to zero rated in principle. And then there are transitional provisions as well, which has now died up in the sense, when the VAT was implemented in 2018, what happens to services which were partially rendered before 2018, what happens to some which were raised after 2018, services provided before 18, but invoicing done after 18. So these are the key, these were some of the issues where we have seen most of the litigation over the past 5 years with the tax authority. Some key takeaways, yeah, I mean, self-reviews and audit simulations.
Yes.
Is someone going to say
Maybe we
something?
can
Sorry.
extend.
Hello? Okay. Anyways, so yeah, I mean, self-reviews are very important. Doing mock audits time and again, very important. Maintaining proper reconciliations, maintaining documentation in Arabic, training your accounting staff and your kind of key tax people, again, very important. There are a lot of updates taking place on a periodic basis, so it's very important to keep up to date. And reverse charge, again, reverse charge is something which we have seen that our clients have missed out time and again, so that is also important. Now, in this slide, I've just highlighted a key comparison between some of the key features of the KSA VAT and Indian GST. As I said initially, India GST is a two-tiered model. So we have a state GST and a federal GST, whereas KSA VAT is one-tiered. Rates, there are multiple slabs in India, whereas we have just a single slab in Saudi Arabia. Refund of input VAT. This is interesting because in Saudi, if you have a credit balance of input VAT, you can claim that as a refund anytime. So if I file a return for a particular tax period and I have excess input VAT, I can straight away claim that as a refund, which is partially restricted in India. That refund is only allowed in certain scenarios such as inverted duty structure or export of goods or services. And then tax grouping is again one thing which is, yes, which is not available in India, but whereas this is available in Saudi. Otherwise, if you see broadly and conceptually, the fundamentals remain the same in terms of how VAT or GST is administered in Saudi or in India. Now, I'll just touch upon a few bits on e-invoicing. Saudi is taking rapid steps, and with VAT in 2018, they also introduced e-invoicing in 2021. So in 3 years of introducing VAT, they also introduced e-invoicing. Again, e-invoicing, there are various benefits of e-invoicing. It reduces the hidden economy transaction, the parallel economy, reduces the cost of invoicing. More information is available to the tax authorities so that they can administer the tax better. Again, the entire world is moving towards e-invoicing, so it's a global best practice. And in the longer run, it is simplified and it is more time saving for both customers and the suppliers as well. Now, this is like a timeline. So e-invoicing is introduced in 2 phases. First phase is the generation phase, and the second phase is the integration phase. So first phase started on 4th of December 2021, where the taxpayer were required to issue and generate e-invoices. And then the second phase started from 1st January, wherein the taxpayer needs to integrate their systems with the ZATCA. And what I mean by integrate is any invoicing needs to be kind of pre-approved by the ZATCA. So whenever we have to raise an invoice, the systems needs to be integrated with the ZATCA platform. Any invoice first needs to kind of pass through the ZATCA platform in order to kind of raise that invoice. So it's a pre-clearance model in the sense that first ZATCA will approve the invoice and then only the invoice can be raised by the taxpayer. Again, it happens on a real-time basis. It's not as if there'll be a time lag, but yes, you need to comply with this. Again, I mean, wave 2 integration is being done in a phase-wise manner. It's not one go, so it depends on the turnover. So wave 1 started in 2023, wherein the turnover was 3 billion. The turnover threshold was 3 billion taxable turnover. And now we are in wave 9, wherein the turnover threshold is 30 million in 2021 or 2022 VAT returns. And this will be applicable from 1st of June 2024. Again, I'll not get into what transactions. There are certain exemptions to invoicing. Certain transactions will not be applicable to invoicing. Yeah, moving on to the last last topic of my presentation, and this is something which is very close to my heart, is the real estate transaction tax. And in Saudi, I cannot underscore the importance of real estate. It is one of the key pillars of Saudi Vision 2030. And one of the reports of the global real estate consultancy, Knight Frank, said Saudi is probably the largest construction site in the world. We have huge giga projects such as the Neom, the Qiddiya, which is a gaming city in itself, the Red Sea, which is termed as the mini Maldives, and we have the Diriyah Gate, etc., etc. So it's like Saudi is building country within a country. So you can imagine how much real estate is required, and hence real estate transaction tax is something very important. Essentially, it's a tax levied on all kind of sale and purchase of real estate in Saudi. Rate is 5%. It's like a stamp duty, but it is more wide based, and it has more ramifications as compared to a stamp duty, which you'll find in India. It is also applicable to transfer of shares, where the company whose shares are being transferred is real estate rich. And one of the key kind of issue is that it has an interaction with VAT. So to give you a background, what happened in RET was introduced in Saudi in October 2020, because the VAT rate on real estate properties were 15%. So to give a relief to retail consumers, they exempted the VAT on real estate properties, and then they levied 5% real estate tax. But then what it meant was that the input, because of the exemption, the input VAT for the real estate developers also got restricted. And there were kind of some unintended consequences as well. And then certain other sectors, such as big infrastructure projects, etc., which also has real estate, got impacted due to that. And hence, yeah, I think, and these are the key transactions where RET applies. So it applies on any transfer of real estate, and it also applies to barter or long-term usufruct or leases, etc. These are some of the kind of key compliance requirements. I will not delve deep into it. And yeah, if there are any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm available. I'm available on LinkedIn. I'm available on my email ID. I'm available on my telephone. So I'm sure Naveen Bhai will be circulating the slides, and you will have my contact details there. So with this, I will finish my presentation, and thank you for a patient listening. Over to you, Naveen Bhai.
Thank you, Manish, for the enlightening session. Actually, it helped us to understand the VAT regime, and I can see that most of us would have correlated, and the way you have beautifully linked it to the syntax. And even that was a learning for me as well, I would say, though I am here in more than 8 years in the kingdom. But now I can easily correlate that how the things are happening and the playing. And I'm sure that most of that our fellow chartered accountants would have get most of the benefit out of it. And thanks for really making ensuring all of us you that for available of the help. I'm sure that we'll keep on bothering you. So with this, now I would like to invite our colleague Ali Sanauddin, who will help us to understand the zakat, the corporate tax, and withholding tax, which is again a key importance area. And I would say the introduction of Ali, I don't know whether it goes along with that 22 years experience in the kingdom. If the tax is too old, as Manish has rightly mentioned, it's a myth breaking news. So that gives me a feeling that me and Manish are here for 8 to 10 years, but Ali is here for more than 20 years in the KSA, handling tax in the zakat practice. So I'm sure that he has much more experience. He has learned the practice when it has I would say that started, or it was in the nascent stage. Now he's currently is a partner with the KPMG, and he's handling the corporate tax, zakat, and the withholding tax. He's heading the department and looking into the multiple advice, the valuations, and the I would say that technical guidance for the framework of the tax, and also work on the appeal and the regulations. So without much of ado, Ali, I would request he's sitting next to me only. So just take over from here, and if you can share your screen as well, possible. Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Manish. Thank you, Naveen, for your great introduction. And
Let me share the screen.
can you hear all of us?
Yes, Ali, we can hear you.
Thank you. Thank you. Screen.
Speak.
Yeah. So screen. Yeah. So from Saudi Arabian perspective, if we look at the taxation started some time ago, like 1970s and 80s. So the foreign companies having the taxes at higher tax rate, like 30, 35, and 40 percentage of taxes on those days. So the new version of the tax regulation, which came in 2004 with a tax rate of 20%, and then along with the zakat and withholding tax. So now, if we look at the corporate tax, the corporate tax is applicable on non-GCC owners' share of profit in Saudi Arabia. So those companies that are owned by non-GCC shareholders, like we know who are all GCCs, six countries. But if we look at the other country national owned companies, they are considered as considered for taxes. And also oil and natural gas production activity is also considered for taxation in Saudi, even if it is owned by the GCC or foreign, irrespective of the fact that whether they are foreign owned or GCC owned. So in Saudi Arabia, the oil company is Aramco, so they are subject to tax, and the natural gas production companies, they are also subject to tax. Zakat is a religious levy which is applied on the Saudi and GCC national shareholders' share of profit plus the zakatable net assessable fund. So this is at 2.5% of the zakat base, and then this is there is a complicated calculation behind it, but depends on the balance sheet of the company. The zakat has to be calculated depending on the profit and also the net assessable funds. So then other aspect of the tax is tax on non-residents, which is a withholding tax that we see in India. Also, there are withholding taxes applicable. Any Saudi source income earned by a non-resident from Saudi is subject to withholding tax at 5% to 20%, depending on the nature of the transaction. So let's move to next. So let's think about a scenario where the companies who come to Saudi, like a foreign company coming and setting up a company in Saudi, and also a Saudi shareholder or GCC shareholder is joining in partnership with them. So they are considered as mixed companies. And to the extent of the shares that are owned by the foreign shareholder will be subject to tax, and the share that is relating to the GCC shareholder will be subject to zakat. So the calculation, the one financial statement will be prepared, but then the share of profit is divided between the foreign and GCC nationals, and then the foreign nationals' share of profit will be subject to tax at 20%, and then the GCC and the Saudi national owned share will be subject to zakat at 2.5%, along with the net assessable fund as per the balance sheet of the company. Zakat, as I mentioned, this is applied on the GCC nationals, which is at 2.5%, and which is a religious levy. There are a little bit complication around the calculation, but there are very well guided, and the tax authority has issued various guidelines for calculation of the zakat. Foreign companies or the companies that are operating in Saudi Arabia as a non-resident, whether they are operating it through a PE or a foreign-owned company or a non-GCC share, so all of them will be subject to tax at 20%. So there are mixed companies that are subject to zakat and tax. And then there are companies who is owned also only by GCC or Saudi nationals. They are subject to zakat. And then any activities of the foreign nationals inside Saudi Arabia or anybody earning income from Saudi is subject to tax at 20% if they are foreign nationals. So if we look at the characterization, like Saudi GCC nationals owned company, they are subject to zakat. And then other aspect is non-GCC, non-Saudi nationals, they own companies in GCC, and that GCC company owns shares in Saudi company, they are subject to tax. Irrespective of the fact that the company is set up in GCC country, if that company is owned by a non-GCC national, they are subject to tax. Assuming the scenario where Saudi or GCC shareholders set up a company in Bermuda or any of the part of the country other than the GCC jurisdiction, and they come and set up a company in Saudi, so then that company's shares in Saudi also will be subject to tax. So whether they are a Saudi national or GCC national, it is not a consideration if the holding is from outside GCC jurisdiction. So if it is within the jurisdiction of GCC, if they are setting up the shareholders and the shareholders are GCC nationals, they are subject to zakat. But if the holding company is set up outside the jurisdiction, they are subject to tax. So the applicability for zakah is a Saudi GCC nationals, but again those shareholders, like if you and me going and buying shares in the Saudi stock market, that is also considered as zakat for zakat purposes. So if we are the shareholder in a listed company in Saudi Arabia, then that is also considered for zakat calculation, and we have to buy it from the stock market. Not that we set up a company and then part of the shares are offered in the stock market. Still, our foreign share will be subject to tax. But if we go and buy from the stock market, then our share of profit is also subject to zakat. Then again, so the calculation is basically a bit complicated. So I didn't put the calculation in the slide. So basically, the profit plus net assessable fund will be subject to zakat. Next. So recently, the rules for investment fund also issued in Saudi Arabia by the Zakah. So earlier, the investment in the funds were being straight away getting into zakat at 2.5% for the investors, especially the bigger investment houses in Saudi. They have been suffering zakat on 2.5% on the funds that they invest. So in 2023, the tax authority has come up with the rule wherein it says that they have to file a return. The investment fund has to file a return for information purpose, and then the unit holders, the investors, can calculate the zakat for those investment funds in the investment fund, and pay the zakat, their share of zakat, and then claim the deduction from the zakat base. So basically, the investment fund, sukuk, and all of this were not very attractive from the zakat perspective, but now because of this rule, it become attractive. Why? Because the investment funds are allowed as a deduction from the zakat base. Like mainly this happens where there are major investment houses that are owned by Saudi or GCC nationals. So that was not getting allowed as a deduction, but now with this rule, it is allowed. So there is ever changing. It's a regular evolvement is happening on the tax, zakat, and all the fiscal regimes in Saudi. So this is as part of the process. Next. Withholding tax, as you see, there is a withholding tax in India, as well as many other part of the world in the jurisdictions. So this is almost the same concept. It is based on the concept of the source principle, where if a non-resident earn an income from a Saudi source income, they are subject to tax. The rate of taxes vary, but then the taxes has to be settled on a monthly basis. So there is a monthly withholding tax compliance for the payment to non-residents by the resident companies. And if you are a consultant coming and working in Saudi and not creating a permanent establishment and earning an income, so you are subject to tax as per the Saudi tax regulation. But if you are providing a consulting service, the withholding tax rate is 5%. If you are providing a software or royalty or training, then it is subject to 15%, and the rate varies accordingly. So the rates of the normal transactions and the rate of taxes are provided here. Management fee is taxed at withholding tax rate at 20%. Royalty is 15%, and any other payment that are not considered and or defined or clarified in the regulation, it is 15%, and various other consulting, professional, legal, and engineering, consultancy, all of them are subject to 5%. The air freight and air travel, various others are subject to 5% as well again. So in same as in India, the compliance process is very simple. The payer of the service, basically the resident company, who has to deduct the withholding tax as per the tax regulation and remit the same to the tax authority, and the remaining amount to be paid to the non-resident. So the deduction and the payment happens on a monthly basis, and withholding tax to be filed after the month end, within 10 days or within 10th of the subsequent month. There is a grace period of next 30 days for payment of the withholding tax. So without delay fine. Like for example, if we are making the payment in February, so March 10th is the due date prescribed by the law. But then you will have another 30 days from 10th March to 10th April. You get exemption for without delay fine. You can make the payment and settle the withholding tax. That's that. Saudi Arabia has signed a wide treaty network, like more than 57 tax treaties has been signed by Saudi Arabia with various countries. So based on the tax treaty, it gives quite a lot of consistency in the treatment, and also there are benefits and reduced withholding tax rates. There are in some cases nil withholding tax rate. Like for example, if an Indian company coming to Saudi Arabia providing engineering services and not creating a permanent establishment, like for example, to create a permanent establishment, their presence by the employees in Saudi should be more than 183 days. So if the employees are not present in Saudi for more than 183 days, so that Indian company will not create a taxable presence in Saudi, and then the withholding tax that are applied based on the domestic tax regulation will be exempted, and zero rate can be claimed. So these are the list of countries where Saudi Arabia has effective tax treaties, and the list is keep growing. The Saudi Arabia as previously Naveen and Manish and everyone has mentioned, Saudi Arabia is growing in terms of fiscal regime as well as from various fronts. So this treaty is also going up. So we have currently there are treaty with India, so we will be able to make benefit of the treaty. Like in case of royalty, there are reduced withholding tax as compared to the domestic tax. Next. So the corporate tax, as I mentioned earlier, the corporate tax is applicable at 20% on the company's share of profit, and there are exemptions. Like the listed companies, there are exemptions like capital gain tax is exempted if the company is listed in the stock market, and there are also participation exemption. Like if a Saudi company, which is a foreign company, earns an income from outside and has 10% ownership, and also if the income is coming after 1 year, if there is a holding period of 1 year, then they are exempt. Thanks. So capital gain tax is applicable on the sale of shares by a foreign shareholder. Like for example, an Indian company coming into Saudi, and they pay the tax, they run the business, and when they exit, so the gain on sale of shares, so that is subject to tax at 20%. So the capital gain tax is, there are exemptions available after based on the tax treaty, but then generally the tax treaties, most of the tax treaties doesn't have this the exemption on capital gain tax, and this is a compliance requirement which has to be followed. Next. I'll be happy to answer any of the questions, and I'm available, as Manish mentioned, we are all available on LinkedIn. My numbers are there, and please to respond on any questions.
And I can see some questions that are already there on that the chat box, which we will just respond at a time. And thanks, Ali, for your whole detailed guidance on the tax and the regulatory design over here. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Sahil Sharma, who is a professional chartered accountant, and he's done from India, and he is having advanced diploma in the management accounting from the UK, and he has experience of over 10 years in the field of transfer pricing in India, Middle East, Canada, United States. And the Sahil is currently working with, as we mentioned, discussed before, the MJK, the entity where he is currently handling with his other associate chartered accountant partners and the team members on the transfer pricing regulations. So considering the very time limitation, I would like to invite directly Sahil Sharma to take the slides further, the session further. Over to you,
Thank you, Naveen, for the introduction, and good evening to everyone else, especially joining in from India. Let me just share my screen first. Yeah. So actually, I thank you everyone to the previous speakers, especially Ali, for explaining the concepts of different taxpayers, including zakat and mixed liabilities, as our audience will be able to understand a lot of the intricacies of transfer pricing there. So TP laws were introduced pretty recently in Saudi Arabia, like dating back like almost 5 years now. 2018 was the first time they got introduced. Prior to 2018, there were no specific formal TP regulations, but the authority, DATCA, had the authority to make changes or make adjustments relating to related party transactions. Since 2018, they have introduced formally the transfer pricing laws in the country, and it was applicable on clients which were either foreign multinationals or mixed liabilities or taxpayers, and was not applicable on zakat payers. In 2019, they formalized this by introducing the TP bylaws. So our current tax law, our current transfer pricing in Saudi Arabia is implemented using the reference to a TP bylaw, and which is supported by a KSA TP regulation document. Moving forward, I think they have been pretty much focusing on related party transactions, and accordingly, they introduced amendments or proposed amendments to the TP bylaws, thereby extending the applicability of the laws on zakat payers as well, which means in 2024 January onwards, almost all the taxpayers in the country of Saudi Arabia are now going to be falling under the laws of transfer pricing. This extension on the zakat payers is actually on a phased manner, which means up until 2027, some documentation rules will not apply to all zakat payers, and after 27, it will be on 100% zakat payers. On the next slide, we'll see that if you look at the proper MENA region, the TP laws have already been there in Saudi. They are now been introduced in the UAE from 2024 onwards. Qatar already had the documentation and especially the transfer pricing formal laws, and so did Egypt. Along with these countries, if we look at the other smaller nations, which would be like Oman, Bahrain, Kuwait, they don't have formal transfer pricing regulations, but they do have what we call the concept of arm's length principle being implemented in their books, which means that related party transactions or intra-group transactions must be at an arm's length principle. Now, what this essentially means is, being the major economy in the Middle East, being Saudi Arabia, you will have that these GCC countries are very close linked economically as well as in terms of their business purposes. So you will occasionally see that there are multiple intra-group transactions happening between either Saudi-based companies, which are like outbound Saudi-based companies, or maybe like inbound companies as well. So keeping your transfer pricing in place is really important, and especially with the increasing focus by the ZATCA on these regulations, which we'll discuss in some time. Also, I'm speaking a little bit fast to manage time and making sure that everybody is able to spend their evenings early. So now let's just sort of look at the general framework of transfer pricing and sort of how it compares to India as well. So of course, the laws have the arm's length principle, which means any intra-group transactions must be conducted at an arm's length price as if it is being conducted with independent parties. The overall regulations are completely aligned with OECD guidelines. And so all the chartered accountants in India who are either already working in transfer pricing or have any exposure to it will relatively feel at home in terms of getting used to what those definitions are, what the TP methods are, especially in terms of the comparability analysis, and the principles. The guiding principles are all the same.
Sahil, sorry to disturb you. Just make it in presentation mode, yeah, please. Everyone is requesting.
Let me see how to do it. Okay, yeah, sure. Is it clear now?
Yeah. Thanks, Sahil.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So in addition to the OECD guidelines, we also have the definition of related parties, which is codified as per what we have in the Indian accounts, as well as the same as in the KSA-TP guidelines. But one thing I would sort of mention in terms of definition of related parties, which differs in Saudi Arabia, that they have the option, or they extend the definition of related parties to entities with effective control. They have 14 sub-clauses which define what effective control is, but I'm going to give you some examples to sort of make it clearer. Is like if your business, if 50% of your revenues are dependent on another individual party, then you might be considered to be under effective control. Furthermore, if you have received your funding from another party constitutes more than 50% of your overall total long-term borrowing, you might be a related party due to effective control. Similarly, if you have exclusivity distribution rights, or if you have exclusive technology rights on which your business is dependent, the effective control sort of extends. to those countries. And this becomes especially a significant sort of analysis mode for transfer pricing people here is because you have a lot of companies whose primary or maybe like only customer might be one of the Saudi government entities. Now, in terms of their definition, does it apply or not is something that we are still analyzing, we're evaluating, but it needs to be documented per se. So this is the overall guiding principles of arm's length. Moving on to the disclosure requirements. So the documentation and compliance requirements is that there's a mandatory controlled transaction disclosure form, which must be submitted within 120 days of the end of the fiscal year. This disclosure form must report your controlled transaction, the related party you have been transacted with, the amount and the TP method used, and this must be certified by a chartered accountant. So for our Indian chartered accountants, this is similar to a 3C EB form that we file in India. In addition to this, we have the 3-tier documentation approach, which includes a local file, a master file, and country-by-country reporting. The local file and master file are technically applicable for companies who have annual aggregated related party transaction exceeding 6 million SAR, or I would say like close to 1.5 to 2 million USD. Now, these local files and master files don't have a specific template for KSA. However, the guidelines do provide general guidance on what should be included in these, and these contents are more or less comparable to what we have in the OECD guidelines as well. In addition to this, all taxpayers, including the zakat payers and the mixed liability taxpayers, are supposed to file a CBC reporting if their revenues are over $3.2 billion, the group revenue. And if they are not the ultimate parent entity, then they might have to file a CBC notification disclosing who the parent entity or where the CBC report has been filed. Moving forward, we do see a lot of TP audits and controversy in Saudi. It is not at the level that we see in India, because we all know that the Indian tax authorities are pretty aggressive in terms of that. But so far, Saudi is initiating those TP audits. They are getting to a point where they see in the future these audits to be increasing much more. Some of the key triggers of those audits based on our experiences have been that the value and the nature of your intragroup transactions are pretty significant. For example, if you have a transaction of royalty transaction, or if you have intercompany loans wherein your loans are at really either high or really low interest rates, and also if you have any intragroup services and they form a considerable part of your costs, then those might be audited by the ZATCA authorities. In addition to that, transactions with low tax jurisdiction, which were UAE to a certain extent earlier, or maybe like Bahrain or some other countries, those are definitely high on the radar of these tax authorities. And if you are a consistent loss making, or you're reporting really inconsistent or low margins, especially while having significantly high intragroup transactions, it increases your chances of coming under a TP audit as well. And lately, we have seen that some business structurings, which could be like recategorization of your entities from, say, who were either licensed manufacturers to contract manufacturers, or changes in the distribution model of the entities, might also get some questions from the audit side. To avoid these audits and this controversy, because TP is still a developing thing in Saudi, and the ZATCA authorities are learning, they are maturing on an annual basis. And therefore, for our clients or for you as professionals, one of the key reasons of dispute resolution would be either getting into a mutual agreement procedure, or the APA regime, which was introduced and is effective from January 1, 2024, that, KSA hopefully is going to be accepting unilateral, bilateral, and multilateral APAs. So they are open to receiving those APA proposals from clients, and hopefully that will lead to some certain tax certainty from a transfer pricing perspective. In addition to that, we also have the option of getting an advance ruling. The advance ruling can come from, it could also be from a withholding tax matter, or it could also be from transfer pricing arrangement matter in terms of your remuneration, in terms of your compensation for the related parties. Moving forward, one of the key changes which will impact a lot of, which is going to impact, open a lot of opportunities for transfer pricing professionals, especially in the KSA, is the introduction of the regional headquarter program. So what is the RHQ program? The RHQ program, which started from January 1, 2024, is an effort by the Ministry of Investment and the Royal Commission for the Riyadh City, whereby they have requested, or they have actually mandated, that any foreign company who has more than one subsidiary in the MENA region, which is like outside of KSA and outside of their parent jurisdiction, if they have two more subsidiaries in the region, which could be UAE, Bahrain, or UAE, Africa, or UAE, or like even Kuwait, then they need to have a regional headquarter established in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia so that they are able to submit any tender for a government project. Otherwise, they'll be disqualified. So the whole idea is that MISA, which is the Ministry of Investment, would be maintaining sort of what we call it now, jokingly, a blacklist of clients who have companies who have already established their RHQs in the country, and only they will be able to get government tender approval. To set up these RHQs, the government is providing certain incentives, which is like Saudization exemption for 10 years, and you have corporate tax and withholding tax exemption for 30 years, which is a massive big. But one key, I would say, point here is that an RHQ is usually supposed to be meant doing non-commercial activities. What do you mean by non-commercial activities? Is that an RHQ is supposed to be a strategic hub in the Middle East. For example, they have mandated primarily a list of primary activities that an RHQ must perform, which are strategic formulation for the region, which could be business control, business planning, creating mergers, supporting in mergers and acquisitions, like, key level, high level strategic decision making. And as such, the RHQ is not supposed to be doing any commercial activity like sale of products or distribution of products, etc. So the question might come as, okay, what do we do with these tax benefits if they're not applicable to RHQs? The key response for that is that the RHQs are actually taxable persons, which means arm's length principle applies on them. Therefore, all the strategic activities that they're performing for their group entities in the region, they need to charge them at an arm's length price, which will include a certain markup. However, this markup would be tax exempt for the RHQs in Saudi. In addition to that, you have waiver of professional accreditations, you have visa limits, and all of these given to the RHQs, enticing them to come to the region. I think in 2024, we already have heard that Google, Amazon, and Microsoft apparently have already moved their RHQs to the region in Saudi Arabia, which is a big move. And if we look at a 2019 statistic from the authorities, that Saudi currently had 655 non-KSA headquartered multinational enterprises. So there's a huge market that they're targeting. In my experience, they're directly targeting a lot of the headquarters who are based out of the UAE for currently right now. And this is where the opportunity lies. There's a huge potential for transfer pricing planning to assist these clients who might already have the RHQs in a different jurisdiction of the Middle East, and trying to bring those functions into Saudi, ensuring that those functions are aligned with the transfer pricing principles, ensuring that there is no duplication of those services, and ensuring that there is no tax avoidance, or there is no such thing happening, and the authorities are completely fine with it. So therefore, transfer pricing planning, headquartered migration, and also there's a lot of opportunities for chartered accountants to move into in-house roles with those RHQs. Because as I mentioned, one of the key activities of RHQs is business planning, financial forecasting, it could be legal advice, tax accounting. All of these activities are listed by the MISA Act as what the RHQs can perform. So huge potential going there moving forward. So finally, in a nutshell, the opportunities for accountants or in general in the field of transfer pricing is that most recently, transfer pricing is being seen as an optimization and a tax efficient tool rather than just something that we can comply on by filing a form or making a local file. It's a tool that companies are now trying to use to make sure that their operations are more streamlined, are more efficient in the organization. And this can be seen and can be view that these laws are now been even extended to the zakat payers who were initially not under the transfer pricing rules, or even looking at transfer pricing planning for the RHQs moving forward. Secondly, there's going to be a huge focus of the ZATCA on related party arrangements, especially I would say starting next year or maybe like in the coming years once the RHQs are actually set up, because there will be an audit to see whether these services which are being provided by the RHQs are actually being done, whether the people who are were supposed to maintain and be positioned here have been positioned, and whether the transactions are at arm's length or not. And finally, because of those audits, because of those questioning from ZATCA, we're going to be seeing an increased demand in the TP documentation that the clients must maintain, which, as I mentioned, would be a local file, a master file, a transfer pricing policy, robust benchmarking support. And therefore, I think all the chartered accountants who are either in the transfer pricing field or are looking to move to transfer pricing, I think it's a great time to be in Saudi Arabia. And especially because almost all the skills that we have learned in India, India being a really advanced TP economy, I would say, will be directly applicable and would help you come and really work in Saudi Arabia as well. So if you have any specific questions, that I'm trying to just meet the balance the timelines for here, let me know, reach out to me on LinkedIn, reach out to me on email or phone number. You can maybe Naveen ji can share it with you guys, and hopefully you found this quick snapshot of TP educative enough and informative enough. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sahil, for enlightening all of us on the TP regulations. And it was really indeed, I know it was stretched out from the time, but it was really enlightened session with all details you covered. And,
I hope I was eligible because I was speaking really fast for even myself. So I think everybody could make out what I was saying effectively.
It was really great help indeed. And I would really thankful to all patient listeners, though we have stretched out the time for 15 minutes already. And that there are a lot of questions which we have already received. We try to respond them on the chat. And we are happy to have any questions currently from the group. So any member, if there are any further questions which remain unanswered, or you have any questions relating to these areas. So if there are any further question, as we just discussed, or just help us to reach out. I'm sure that team NIRC, and we will be more than happy and available to share that. And with regard to the presentation, we'll just try to see that how best is the possibility to manage that. Over to Sangam and Gauravji.
So Naveen bhai, for it was very exhaustive session, and it was pleasure listening to all of you. And thanks for bringing all the Galaxy speakers at the platform of Northern India Regional Council. As far as presentations are concerned, we would be uploading the same on the website of Northern India Regional Council. So I would request you, Naveen bhai, to kindly share the presentation in the group. And from the WhatsApp group, we will going to upload it on the website of NIRC by tomorrow afternoon or evening. Sangam bhai, over to you. Thank you, Naveen ji. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Naveen ji. Become the key person between this program, because credit goes to you. We have requested to do a session with NIRC on this very important topic, and you manage each and everything for this. So please accept a sincere thanks from team NIRC, and to all other speakers as well, like Sahil ji, Bhupender ji, Manish ji, Ali ji, and all other speakers, guests. Please accept a thanks from bottom of our heart from Team NIRC, and to all the participants as well. Because today we have very good participants. At one time we have more than 180 participants. That shows people are very keen to go outside India to work in Saudi especially. So this is a really very hit program. So I request my staff Sanjeev. Sanjeev, kindly show a certificate of appreciation. Is it there? Sanjeev?
So this is small token of appreciation for all of you. So starting with Naveen Goyalji, Vice Chair of Riyadh Chapter and Speaker for the program, rather I will say the main moderator for this webinar. Thank you, Naveen Bhai.
You're most welcome. It was my pleasure to be with you, and it's our collective responsibility. And thanks, Sangamji, to appreciating and Gauravji giving an opportunity. We all, I on behalf of all speakers, we are more than available to are with you for any future sessions. And I can see that still we have more than 100 participants with us at this minute as well. That really shows the value to our fellow members from these sessions. And we can ensure that we are always available whenever needed.
Thank you, Naveen ji. Sanjeev, अदर दूसरा सर्टिफिकेट दिखाओ. This is for Bhupender Badia ji. Very thankful to you, sir, for the wonderful presentation made by you.
Thanks, Gaurav ji. Thanks, Sangam ji, for arranging this beautiful session. And thanks to all the NIRC team members here.
You will be emailing the same, sir.
Yeah, special thanks to Naveen, sir.
Bhupender, the beauty of the session is always a speaker, sir. How the session it is totally depend upon the speaker and the content, sir. So the credit goes to all the great speakers.
So, yeah,
thanks so this is for Manish Bansal ji. Manish ji, this is for you.
Thanks, Sangam ji and Gaurav ji and Naveen ji. And indeed, I mean, as always, it's a pleasure to kind of be of any help to our community, fellow community members. And as I said again, we are always happy to assist if anyone is looking to kind of relocate to Saudi Arabia or has any doubts or any questions. Please reach out to us and we are more than happy to help. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, Manish ji. This for you, Ali ji. Very wonderful presentation on COP tax and VAT and everything. Very well done, Ali ji, for your time and the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your support and invitation, and we'll be pleased to support on going forward. Thank you.
Now this is for you, Sahil. Very wonderful presentation on transfer pricing. I can also see there's a lot of opportunity for me. Once I will get free from this chairmanship, I might travel to Saudi to handle your tax increasing transfer pricing litigations. So, but yes, indeed, wonderful presentation by you, Sahil. Thank you.
Look forward to it. Thank you everyone. It was a great pleasure. And of course, feel free to reach out if you have any questions on moving to Saudi or any Saudi related question.
Sahil, I would like to add over here that CA Gaurav is a big pillar to the transfer pricing practice in India, and he's leading it from his core of heart, and that I would say that every corner.
Yes. Amen. Thank you. Sangam bhai, let's present a vote of thanks.
So I want to express my sincere thanks to all the great speakers and to all the participants on behalf of Team NIRC for conducting a very great and informative session. The session became great by the speakers, the content and the way they presented the session. So everything is so perfect. So kindly accept sincere thanks from Team NIRC. Thank you so much to all of you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And
thanks.
Yeah, with this note, I again request all the speakers kindly share your respective PPT in the group so that we can share the respected all the members, those who have joined this session. We will upload the PPT in the website of NIRC of ICI so that everyone can get it soon. So with this note, again, thanks. And now it's time to signing off.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Everyone. Show will.
Thanks everyone.